All right, and here we are. What do we do if we are being followed by a creepy guy? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to wait a little bit before I get started. But here's what we're going to cover, okay? We're going to cover if you're on feet, what can you do if you're being followed by someone also on foot? You could be running on a trail. You could be just walking on the street, on the sidewalk. Or this person could be on a bike, okay, bicycle. This has happened. These are real scenarios that have happened. Or you could be still walking. You're still walking, but this person following you could be in a car or a van. All of these scenarios have happened before. So we're going to cover all of these and talk about what we can do in these scenarios, okay? There was a girl in downtown who was followed when she was just walking a trail by the river, and there was just this person who started following her on a bike, okay? And she freaked out. She didn't know what to do. She actually confronted him. She turned around and she said, "Are you following me?" And he didn't do anything. He just stopped his bike and just kept taking pictures of her, which was so obvious. And she just freaked out. She panicked. She kept walking. She tried to change direction. And she finally went into a Starbucks. And then she came out and she found a police officer. So she stood right next to him for some time. That's what she did, okay? And in another case, another person I personally know, she was walking on the street, just getting a morning walk in. And there was a person in a van who kept following her. It was an empty street, early in the morning. People are working from home. And so there was nobody there around, right? And so it was very obvious. She was the one person on the sidewalk, and there was one van, and then she turned and it turned, and then she turned again, and that kept going on for a while. So that was really scary for her because this person could stop and pull her in, and that was the scary thing because it was a van. And another scenario, also, again, a person I know has happened to. She is actually a high school student, so she was walking back home from her bus stop, and this other kid, he just followed her on foot. And then when she would stop, he would stop too, just keeping that same distance. All right, so these are real scenarios. Hey, T Kitty. So these are real scenarios, okay? And so let's break it down. I have spoken to some police officers about this as well. So I have some more ideas on what we can do. Okay, so the first step is recognizing when we're being followed. A lot of people don't, hey, Roki, a lot of people don't even realize that they're being followed, okay? And that's the scary part. We're busy on our phones, we're like talking or whatever it is that we're doing, right? Scrolling through social media. We don't even know we're being followed. So there was a study that was done in Illinois, and the study was about, women or girls on campus who were attacked or raped or attacked at gunpoint, all of those types of attacks. They interviewed them and asked them details, okay? And they found out that, 85% of women or the girls who were attacked actually knew or felt that something was wrong. Something was wrong, okay? But they didn't do anything about it. So that's interesting. And I remember because I was in the University of Illinois at the time, and I was supposed to take this mandatory class. So I was in this mandatory, like a sit-down conversation on how to be safe, a safety class. And so they shared the statistics, and they said, majority of girls actually know, they feel like something's off, but they ignore that feeling because they're like, I'm just being paranoid. There's nothing here. There's nobody here. Okay, and that's not a good thing for us to do because our intuition isn't this magical spiritual thing. It's not, it's data, it's logic, okay? So we need to listen to it. It's some information that is being processed, and we don't know exactly what that information is that we're processing. And that's why we call it intuition. We're like, something feels off. What is this feeling? That something is causing the feeling, a shadow, maybe some footsteps, maybe something, some breathing that we're not conscious of, but it's there, that data is there, that our mind has processed, but we don't know exactly what it is, okay? So that's super important. So that's the first step. We're going to identify what is happening if somebody's following us or not. So situational awareness and self-awareness is huge. That's the first piece of it before we go into what to do, okay? So always we need to have great situational awareness. When we're outside, look around. Let's not be on our phones. Oh, look at that cute kitty cat. I mean, that's great. Let's do that when we are in, a safe, inside, enclosed place. We don't have to, oh, look at that. Oh, what does my friend say? There's no point in walking and doing that. That's not safe at all. Somebody could accidentally hit you. You could cross the street. How many times, oh my gosh, I can't tell you, I see people crossing a street, their car stopped because it's their red light. Hey, Marianne, and it's our green light for the pedestrians. We're crossing the street and we're on our phones. Like, don't do that, right? What if somebody didn't stop? What if there's a bicyclist, right? So situational awareness is huge. So keep our phones in our pocket and just look around what's happening. Look around who's around there, especially on a busy trail. So in some cases when these girls were followed, hey, shamelessly awesome. And in some of these cases when these girls were followed, they were actually a busy trail. It was a Saturday morning and, it was a trail by the river or by the lake or whatever. And there were lots of people, there were lots of bicyclists, lots of pedestrians. There was a lot of crowd and they were followed. It wasn't that they were just alone. Of course, there were those scenarios as well. So that's something to think about, right? Yes, Marianne. Right? So that's something to think about, which is, it's not always when you're alone. It also happens a lot when you're in a public place. And when I was attacked in Seattle downtown, actually both times it was pretty busy time and it was a public place and it was core of downtown. It was about 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So there was a lot of crowd, lots of people around. We're all trying to take the bus home and that happened. Okay, so that's normal. So we're out walking. Thank you, Marianne. Appreciate it. So when we're out and about and walking, doesn't matter, it's, we're alone or, it's a crowded place. Either way, phones in our pocket, just awareness of our surrounding, who's coming out, who's going, who's leaving, who's where, situational awareness. Okay. Second is self-awareness, and it's kind of a broad thing. What I really mean when I say that it's, how do I feel? It's super important in self-defense. I can't tell you how many times, even in relationships, when we're dating, there's this feeling associated. Well, something feels wrong. Something feels off. I feel great. Something about this feels amazing. Those kinds of feelings, there are data. There are data points. Let's listen to them. Okay. So that's self-awareness, right? Walking. Okay. How do I feel? Okay. I feel safe. I feel, and I'm not saying it's 100% accurate because a lot of us haven't honed that skill. So that's okay. It's just still important to have that knowledge. All right. Moving on from situational and self-awareness. Now we have recognized that somebody is following us. So I'm going to tell you first what we typically do, okay? Because I've heard so many of these stories. And then based on my conversation with local police officers, law enforcement, other knowledge, psychology, everything, I'm going to share what we should do, okay? So it'll give us a contrast to understand, I get it. Typically, here's what happens, okay? Most of us tend to not want to confront this person. Okay, we realize that, we recognize it, and then we just walk fast, right? Try to get out, try to crisscross and wind and do different turns, try to lose them by getting into a store, pick up a phone and say, if we're alone and it's late at night or something, pick up a phone, hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, I'm right here. So just pretend to be talking to somebody, okay? Those are some typical tactics. In a crowded situation, we tend to try to lose the person, and in a situation when we are alone, we pretend to be talking to somebody, okay, to make us feel safe. Reality is, think about this now from the perspective of the follower. Okay, you're going to put yourself, say shamelessly awesome, all of you guys, you're going to put yourself in the shoes of a follower. So now you're the creepy dude, okay? I'm the creepy dude. I want to follow Marianne because, I don't know, because she's pretty and I'm interested in her. I don't know. So I'm just going to follow her. So think about that. I'm following somebody. I'm following this girl because I'm interested or in whatever. And she suddenly starts walking fast. Yes, I know, it's funny, right? And she suddenly starts walking fast. Or let's say I'm following a dude. Yeah, why not, right? Okay, and this guy suddenly starts walking fast. He's increasing his pace. He picks up his phone and he's like, you know what? He suddenly starts talking loudly. What do I know? What do I know as a follower? I'm the creepy girl following this dude, whatever. And he picks up his pace. I know for a fact that he has spotted me. He spotted me, right? He wouldn't be walking fast or pretending. Come on, I'm not an idiot. I've obviously been doing this, I as in this hypothetical creepy guy who's following this other person. I know I've been doing this for a while. This is not my first gig. I know I can tell these signs. I'm a great body language reader because I need to know, right? Because in my line of work, I can tell he spotted me. Hey, Sadia. So we're talking about being followed, okay? So if I'm this creepy girl following a dude, whatever, I know that this guy spotted me. And if he is not doing anything about it, guess what? I'm confident. My confidence level has increased. I can be creepier. I can follow him more, longer, maybe even escalate it. Because I'm like, ooh, should I be following this person or not? And like, oh my gosh, she's walking faster. Or he's walking faster. Oh, he's pretending to, oh, he spotted me, but he's not doing anything about it. Oh, okay, he's just a weakling. Okay. So that's the reality. So a lot of times when we are walking and we try to increase our pace, try to lose this person, we're only giving strength to our attacker. Because they're not idiots, they know. They can tell that you've spotted them, and you're not doing anything about it. Hey, Mastermind Martial Arts. So, okay, so the first rule of when we are being followed and we realize that, okay, somebody is following me, okay, is to confront the person. So you want to stop, turn around, and this is if the person's on a bike or walking, right? You want to stop, and maybe even in a car, even in this case when there was this guy in a van, okay? We can keep our distance and do that. But okay, I'll talk about the van scenario in a little bit. So you're being followed by this guy on foot or a bike. You turn and you say, hey, are you following me? Okay? Especially if you're in a crowded situation, that's actually very safe. Because this person's a couple of things can happen. They can say, oh, no, you misunderstood me or something. You're like, okay, fine, go ahead of me. Or they might not answer at all. Like in one of the scenarios that happened, this person just didn't respond. He kept taking pictures. So in that case, okay, you take out your phone, you take a picture of this dude, right? And okay, I've also heard other extremes. And they're like, I'm going to kick him and I'm going to like punch him and I'm going to rip him off of his bike and put him on the floor. Let's not do that. Okay, because if the cops actually show up and they realize this guy he had no idea, he couldn't hear you, he was stopping and taking pictures of the building behind you, and he couldn't hear you or he didn't even see you because he had really bad situational awareness, right? He had headphones in his ears, you couldn't see it because you're wearing a hat or something, right? Like I wear a hijab. So if you punch this person, guess what? You're the one going to go to prison because you just randomly punched a normal person who was just taking pictures of a building, and So let's be smart about it, okay? Let's not go attack somebody because we think that they're doing something that's not okay. All right, so you take out your phone, take a picture of this person, all right? Text it to 911. It's really simple. And say, hey, this person's following me. And you can call 911 after that. Say, hey, I just texted 911. There's this dude that's following me. You don't move. You stay right there. Okay, it's gonna freak this person out. They're gonna really go. If they're on the bike, right, they're gonna go. And if this person's, following you, same kind of thing, you turn around, take a picture of him, call 911, text 911, be like, hey, I sent you a picture. This dude's following me and I'm just here, I'm not gonna move. Okay, so it's really important to do the counterintuitive. We're scared to confront our attacker, but that is the thing to do. It freaks them out because there is the predator-prey relationship. Okay, that's the psychology part. Any attacker wants to be the predator. He's gonna look for a prey. Lions don't attack lions. Even when they attack deer, they look for the weak deer, the little deer, right? Or the sick deer, or the one that wanders away from the group, and all those signs that this is the easy target. That's how human beings are wired. We want an easy target. And Seattle PD did a study on this too, and they found out that that's how people pick, right? They interviewed convicts, what are they called? Inmates who are in prison for assaulting women, and they found out, yeah, that's how they pick their women on the street. And they didn't ask them, that they showed them a video of women and asked them, pick just women from this video of people walking. And they found out that, yeah, they picked pretty much the weak links. And that's why we don't want to be the weak person. If somebody's being a predator, we don't want immediately go into prey behavior, try to walk fast, run fast. If you've ever been to Alaska or any wildlife type area, you've probably heard this, that if you spot a bear, there's a bear that's coming towards you, do not run. just stand and chill. He's not going to do anything. Okay, and that's scary for me. I was like, what? Am I going to see a bear in this national park? I was really scared. I was like, okay, I don't know if I should go to this national park. And actually, it wasn't even in Alaska. It was here, right, in the greater Seattle area, in a parking lot of some preserve. It was like in a very residential area. I came back from the trail, and I was like, why is there a statue of a bear? No, it was a bear sitting next to my car. And I remembered that my training was, okay, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to start running because that makes them chase after us. All right, so I quietly just went back, and there was enough gap between him and my car, so I opened the door, sat in, and just drove away. And then I called wildlife protection, and they're like, well, it's a wildlife preserve, there's wildlife here, deal with it. So that's the kind of thing. Okay, all right, now if you're alone at night, you know what, there's something else you can do, because if you suddenly confront this person could run, grab you, put you on the ground. We don't know what could happen because you're alone. There's nobody there. The best thing really is to have that knowledge, okay? Because it builds that confidence. Once we have that confidence, okay, I'm running this trail alone. This dude is following me. I'm still going to confront him because I have confidence in my abilities. If he does attack, I'm still going to follow the same protocol, the same procedure, right? Confront him, take out my camera, take a picture, etc. Go follow the process. And if he really jumps at me, boom, I'll deal with it. Because I have the confidence in my ability that if somebody attacks me, I know how to get out of it. I mean, I have trained with my brother-in-law, who's a 6'4", potentially 350-pound, huge person. And if I can keep that person at bay, not even using strength because I have techniques, whatever, right? I mean, I'm confident. So yeah, build your confidence. If you are a person who runs trails late at night, or if you're a nurse who works late at night, etc., people who work late at night, build your confidence in what you can do when you're caught with somebody following you, when you're alone late at night, because that is a situation you're putting yourself in. So train yourself, okay, into how to, and if you want some ideas and what videos you can watch and etc., just DM me and I'll send some ideas to you, okay, or some training materials to you. Okay, but if you're not confident, right, and you're still doing this while you're working on building that confidence and that technique and what you can do, what you can do is couple different things, okay? Well, see if you can immediately get out into a crowded space, okay? If not, and while you are doing that, you immediately you call 911 and say, I'm at the intersection of X and Y, and there's a person following me. Immediately. You don't want to spend time, because if you're just taking your phone out, they might think, oh, you're probably changing music or something. So immediately call 911, say, hey, I'm in the intersection of 4th and Zebra, and I think there's a person following me. Now, don't be scared, okay? So different countries are different, and I'm talking about US specifically, okay? So if you're tuning in from a different country, kind of analyze what the laws there are. In the US, and actually in quite a few countries I know, like UK and other countries, it's not a crime to call 911 for a situation you thought was dangerous, and turns out it wasn't dangerous. Turned out to not be dangerous, okay? That's okay. I've talked to several police officers about this. They're like, if you feel threatened, you call 911. If it turns out it was only a rabbit, oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. They'll show up. You can tell them, hey, officer, it was just a rabbit. That's the shadow I saw. Okay, cool. Totally cool. They'll go, okay. So it's really important. And sometimes we're scared because of what we see in the news. Sometimes we're scared because we don't want to waste police officers' time. My city's already understaffed. There's so much crime. I don't want to. But ask a police officer. If you have access to one, go ahead, right? I mean, I do it all the time. If you've seen my texting 911 video, I was getting bubble tea. I saw a Seattle PD car, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go up and ask. And I'm like, hey, officer, my name is Fazia. Hey, David. I just went up to the officer and I said, hey, officer, my Fazia, I want to ask about this. Can I record you? And he was like, sure. And I recorded him. So, work your way up to that comfort. Ask a police officer what you can do. Okay, time to do a quick recap. And if you have questions, please go ahead and post it. And I'm going to do a quick recap. What can you do if you're being followed and you're on foot? And this person is either following you on foot, following you on a bicycle, or following you in a van. Okay, if the person is following you on foot and you are in a busy, crowded area, right, confront that person. If he's on a bicycle, same thing, confront that person. Make sure he is not in a position to run you over with the bike. Okay, if he's following in your van, same kind of thing. Keep your distance from the van, so it takes a while for them to actually get out and grab you. It's not like you're right by the van, confronting the person, going up to him. That's not smart, because then they can grab you, whatever, right? Don't be at a reaching distance. And confront the person. Hey, you're following me? Be ready with your cell phone, record it, take pictures, text 911, be swift about it. And then depending on their answer, that's fine. You continue. If they're like, oh, sorry, yeah, oh, you mistaken. Okay. If they say something like, oh, I'm mistaken, please go ahead. I'll wait. Bicyclist, van, everything can just go ahead. You watch them go ahead, and then you continue. But if they don't respond, or if they show malice and they're still there, take picture of the license plate. If it's a car, right, just go behind, take a license, or go in front of them, take a license plate picture, record it, send it, text it to 911, call 911, say, hey, I'm at the intersection of X and Y, this person on the bike, on the van, whatever, is following me. Okay, you're in a busy area. If they try to do something, there's going to be lots of people, and they're not idiots. Okay, they're not going to do. If we cower and try to run or try other tactics, we're just giving strength and power to our attacker, to our follower. And if you are alone, if you're alone, either you're on a trail running alone, or if it's late at night, a nurse who's working late at night coming back from her shift. In those scenarios, when you're being followed, happens a lot, okay? Half the people I talk to, almost like 40%, almost half, tell me that they were followed or they are being followed. I mean, this is very, very common. Okay, yes, David. So if you're in that kind of a situation, late at night, etc., where you feel like if you confront the person, they could jump you, they could just come running and jump you because there's nobody around to prevent anything from happening. If that's the case, couple options, a little tricky, right? So you want to try and, if you can, depending on what's faster. If it's faster to get to a crowded area, a bar, whatever that's open or whatever, right? You can run to it, that's fine. Okay, or maybe if it's faster for you to actually just call 911 and say, hey, I'm at the intersection of X and Y. That's the first thing you want to say. You don't want to say what's happening. As soon as you text 911 or call them, the first piece of information is exactly where you are, your location, and you don't move from there, because they can't pinpoint your location. Okay, this is not TV show where they know exactly where you are from your phone's GPS. They know in a 3-block radius, or, well, okay, they've gotten better. When I was recently talking, I think he said in a 1-block radius or something. Still, it's not exact location. Okay, so the first piece of information you want to say is, I hear where you are, so that if the phone is disconnected, if this person jumps you, guess what? Immediately they're going to send police at that location because they don't know what's happening. So that's the first piece of information you're going to give. You're just going to stay where you are. Hopefully it'll freak the person out if they're trying to do something, right? If they're not in a car, if they're on foot, then it's easy for them to just stay there and do something. So they're like, yeah, I'm not going to bother, because by the time I finish my deed, cop's probably going to be here anyway. If they're in a van late at night and you're alone, try and see how far away you can get from it where it can't come over, right? If you're in a grass, if you can get away from the non-road type location and call and do that so that you're away from them. So they have to get out of the car, come grab you, etc. But you've already taken a picture of the van, the license plate, texted it, sent it. That way they can be in trouble. Yeah, it could be a stolen license plate still, right? So that puts us in a great position to be and stay safe. And ideally, if you are a person who runs trails, very common, if you're hiking alone, if you go backpacking alone, if you're a nurse who works late night shifts or whatever other occupation, you are alone a lot during times when it's late at night or situations that you're putting yourself in that situation, take training, right? Learn from somebody, learn what you can do, how you can get out of it. That's super important. We always act when it's too late. I mean, I can't tell you how many times they're like, oh yeah, I was raped, and so now I want self-defense training. Let's not be that person. That almost all the time, every single time I hear somebody who says, I want to learn self-defense, and I ask, oh, why? Like, oh, because I was abused. Oh, I was in this relationship where I was beaten all the time. Why do we do that? Why do we do that to ourselves, right? I mean, learn now. If you already know you are in tricky situations like these, learn the techniques before it's too late. All right, so that's it for today. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM, and I will see you